and that is the infections of the CNS. And among those, the acute meningitis is very, very important. What you call the pyogenic meningitis, because it is, as it has got the early complications and life-threatening complications are more, and it carries the more morbidity and mortality within 48 hours. So the pyogenic meningitis is very, very important. So everybody should know about this. And high index of suspicion should be there. Whenever the patient comes to your consultation or OP or casualty with fever and altered sensorium, or sometimes may have the seizures also. So you should have the thorough examination, thorough evaluation of the patient, then suspect the first thing, rule out the pyomeningitis, and the next thing is you rule out the viral meningoencephalitis or encephalopathy or any other intracranial space occupying lesions or head injury also sometimes. So it is very the crucial period when you come to the casualty or a OP patient comes to you for the consultation. So everybody should be aware of these, how to approach the case of the fever with altered sensorium. Is the pyomeningitis. The pyomeningitis is very, very important as it has got the more dreadful complications are there in early within 48 hours. So for that, we should have the high index of suspicion should be there whenever the patient comes to you and for OP consultation or the emergency, fever with altered sensorium or fever with the seizures are there, you always suspect the pyomeningitis, which is very, very important. And you may lose the patient also if you are unable to recognize this condition. So it is a very, very important topic. And regarding this, the bacterial meningitis, and we'll come to know the how the causative organisms depends on the age and depends on the immune status and depends on the social factors, environmental factors will be there. So when you take the meningococcal meningitis, Haemophilus influenza, the overcrowding and these are the predisposing factors are there. So we'll come into the causative organisms in the neonates. This has got the serious, the potential complications are there. High morbidity and mortality will be there, and they may have the long-term complications also. And the causative organism, when you take the neonatal period less than 28 days of the age, and most commonest is the gram-negative E. coli and Pseudomonas and Listeria monocytogenes and Staphylococcus aureus, and rarely we may come across Haemophilus influenza also. When the newborn is on ventilator support, there is a chances of the meningitis with septicemia. The causative organism are the Pseudomonas, Proteus, and Serratia. And don't forget about the Listeria also, very, very important. And still I am having some internet connection disturbance. Above 1 month of age, the other causative organisms are streptococcal pneumonia, meningococcal meningitis, and Haemophilus influenza. And the less commonly will come across with Staphylococcus aureus and coagulase negative staphylococcus. And don't forget about the salmonella also will cause the meningitis. So there is the risk factors, the lack of immunity will be there because of the specific to the age and close contact with invasive diseases caused by these Haemophilus and meningococcal meningitis. Overcrowding and impoverished living conditions favor the person to person contact with respiratory secretions and occult bacteremia also in infants predisposed to the infection. And specific host defense deficits leads to the recurrent meningitis. Whenever the recurrent meningitis is a possibility, that in that condition you should think of the hypogammaglobulinemia, agammaglobulinemia, or defect in the complement system and property system, and there is a T-cell defect and CSF leak from the fracture of the skull, base of the skull, and HIV infection and cranial midline defects, congenital anomalies, and the fracture of the cribriform plate and fracture of the stapedial foot process associated with pneumococcal meningitis, and there is a ventricular shunt. We'll use the ventricular shunt in hydrocephalus. In hydrocephalus, the VP shunt also may get infection. There is an exit point is there and entry point in the stomach. So ventricular shunt exposed to the skin commensals, and they may get the staphylococcal infection that may lead to the shunt infection and shunt meningitis also. So these are the predisposing factors. When you come into the individual organisms like streptococcus, it causes in the age group of less than 2 years, and the incidence is 2 to 2.5 per lakh population, and there is host defects and the additional factors like ENT problems like otitis media, sinusitis, and pneumonia, head injury when there is a CSF rhinorrhea is there. Then meningococcal, the types are there. These certain strains are the epidemically it will have the meningitis. And these mainly, these strains A, B, C, Y are known to cause the human disease like meningitis. Other strains are very less, and usually meningococcal meningitis, the presentation is very serious presentation will be there. When the fever with altered sensorium and there is a petechial rash in the lower limbs and buttocks, and the septicemia is there, and that is what you call the meningococcemia. The condition is Waterhouse-Frederick syndrome. It is a very, very dreadful condition and life-threatening complication of the meningococcal meningitis. So hemophilus occurs in the age group of the 2 months to 2 years of age, and the less than 2 years of age, more than 50% of the meningitis is due to the influenza. And the risk is daycare centers and overcrowding environment, and the with influenza, the complications are very, very common, that the subdural effusions, and there is a residual auditory deficit will be there. These are the commonly the complication may occur with Haemophilus influenza, very, very important. Then often associated with umbilical sepsis and the pyoderma and septicemia in older children may have the ENT problems, mastitis and otitis and lateral sinus thrombosis and septic lesion of the scalp and the skin, that area. And the recurrent meningitis usually associated with pyeloneedle sinus and traumatic lesion of the cribriform plate, and the congenital fistulas and the pyeloneedle sinus and CSF rhinorrhea and immune deficiency disorders. Then coming to the pathology and pathogenesis, the main pathological changes which will take place in meningitis, mainly the exudates and some toxemia leading to the parenchymal disease, and may cause vasculitis and thrombosis of the veins, and that may lead to the infarcts in the brain. The exudates are very commonly present around the cerebral vessels and venous sinuses and basal and surface of the brain, and Sylvian fissure around the Sylvian fissures and cerebellum and subdural space. And it leads to the hydrocephalus because of the blockage of the CSF channels at the base of the skull, and that the sinuses are causing a blockage of the CSF circulation in the brain that will lead to the hydrocephalus. And there is a chances of the meningeal signs will be there, and there is a raised ICT will be there, and cerebral ischemia resulting to neurological deficit. Then vascular changes, usually when you take the vessels, subintimal changes occur in the small vessels and small arteries also. There is a chances of thrombosis of the small cortical veins, occlusion of the major venous sinuses, and leading to the necrotizing arteritis and subarachnoid hemorrhage and the cerebral cortical necrosis, cerebral infarction. Then vasospasm, thrombosis of the veins may lead to the hemiparesis, cranial palsies, and convulsions and coma. Then subtoxemia will lead to the cerebral edema because of the cytokine release. That cytokine induces the vascular permeability and increase the hydrostatic pressure, leads to the cerebral edema and turns to irritability, and raised ICT will be there, altered sensorium will be there, and coma and convulsion. Other contributing factors for the raised ICT is secretion of the inappropriate ADH. Then hydrocephalus can be a communicative or obstructive because of the blockage of the foramen Luschka and Magenta. Then pathogenesis, the results from the hematogenous spread, mainly from the distant origin, and bacteremia also precedes the meningitis, and colonization of the nasopharynx, and the prior to this concomitant viral infection may predispose to the many bacterial meningitis. The following events take place because of the organisms, and that too mainly these pathogenesis attachment to the epithelial cells leads to the breaking of the mucosa and access to the circulation and bacteremia. Virulence of the organism and host defense mechanism interaction determines the infection. So the results from the mainly and the other. So this is the what mucosal colonization, intravascular survival, meningeal invasion, and survival in the subarachnoid space. There is a bacterial factors are Fimbriae, polysaccharide capsules, IgA protease, production will be there, bacteriocins, and polysaccharide capsule will be there. And meningococcal Fimbriae associated with monocytes and IB10 and OMPA, platelet activating factor, receptors, and pneumococcal colony uh, binding protein A, and the polysaccharide capsules in a subarachnoid space. So these are the pathogenesis factors will be there. So the bacteria can gain the entry into the CSF through the choroids and lateral sinus and meninges. So they multiply rapidly, and the complement and antibody levels in a CSF is less compared to that of the serum. So inflammatory response leads to the production of the TNF and interleukins and the PGE and other cytokine inflammatory mediators. The inflammatory mediators cause the neutrophilic infiltration, increase the vascular permeability, allow the blood-brain barrier and vascular thrombosis. Excessive cytokine-induced inflammatory process may go on, responsible for the chronic inflammatory sequelae for the complications. Paranasal sinusitis, otitis media, mastitis, orbital cellulitis, cranial osteomyelitis, dermal sinus tract, and the cranial injury and may cause the contagious spread causing the meningitis. The clinical features, sorry, coming to the clinical features, where very briefly, when you just now you know the causative organism depending on the age and the immune status, then the other thing is the pathogenesis and pathology. And now coming to the clinical features of the meningitis, usually they will present with the fever with altered sensorium, or sometimes they may have the irritability and headache, and the projectile vomitings or vomitings may be there irrespective of the age. If the age is above 6 years, we may feel the headache. Don't tell the headache is there in the 3 years of age. Don't bluff the examiners always. And you have to think logically and give the reasons. And when you are uttering the answers, so they may have the photophobia and seizures, and the common classification like this meningitis and high index of suspicion should be there. First, rule out the meningitis by a meningitis. Next, rule out the viral meningoencephalitis or encephalopathy or poisoning or the any other like the head injury also. So these are the present clinical features, clinical manifestations usually come across in meningitis, and they may have the two types, the acute and chronic also. And why you are thinking about all these things, these they may have the early complications are very very important in meningitis. And other younger neonates may have the irritability, excessive cry, high-pitched cry, lethargic, unable to take the breastfeeds, unable to take the feeds, and there is a refusal of taking the feeds. They may have the like septicemia, clinical features like jaundice and respiratory distress and vomiting, and the important altered status will be there, altered sensorium will be there, along with the clinical features in a neonate. And the clinical signs, the classical signs of these meningeal signs may you may not find below 3 years of age. Always remember this is these also don't say lie whenever during the examination, and the meningeal neck stiffness is there, sir. Clinic sign positive, sir, in the age group of 2 years. Don't tell all these things, and you will not have the meningeal signs less than 3 years of age because of the myelination and the muscles of the neck are not well developed. Don't tell all these the points, whatever you think in your mind during the examination. The and the most important in the newborns, you have to see along with these clinical findings like lethargy and irritability, eye excessive cry, and see the anterior fontanelle whether it is bulging is there or not, or flat, and they may have the seizures and altered sensorium will be there. These are the common clinical findings we'll see in any war. And why do you want? Why they will get the seizures? What is the reason for they getting the seizures? Because of the infarction in the brain, or electrolyte imbalance, or maybe infection to the cerebral parenchyma, or the usually occurs within the 4 days of the onset of the fever. That is the most important. And seizure occurred after the 4 days and resistant to the treatment may carry the poor prognosis. And altered sensorium is due to the raised intracranial tension, and cerebritis and coma carries a poor prognosis. So the hypotonia will be there, muscle power is normal, not the DTR may be increased or decreased, and they may have the meningeal signs like neck rigidity, Kernick sign, and Brudzinski sign. Above the 4 years, the 3 years of age or 4 years, you can put the boundary for the age group of the children. And there is an extensive ocular pulses may lead to the photophobia, diplopia, and squint and ptosis. And there is a one condition is there, tachycerebral. That what you call that is because of the oversympathetic activity over the forehead. If you scratch the skin, there is a flushing may be seen. That is a tachycerebral. And there is a neurological deficit in the form of the hemiplegia, hemiparesis, or craniopathies, and mainly the facial nerve or some other cranial nerves. So these are the clinical features will be there. And so at this juncture, I will stop because there is a one meeting is there at 12:30. So up to this level, and I will stop. I will leave the session, and later we will have the continuity of this, the diagnostic test and regarding the management and how to manage.